All right, let's jump right in. We're not going to start with a big history lesson today. Instead, we're kicking off with something you just don't hear every day, a truly shocking admission made on the floor of Pakistan's own parliament. Here it is. This is the quote that just sent shockwaves everywhere. I mean, for a nation's own defense minister to stand up and say his forces are, in his own words, physically handicapped, wow. That is an absolutely extraordinary admission of weakness, and it signals a crisis that goes way deeper than any single battle. So the big question is, what in the world is going on in Balochistan that would force a top official to make such a candid and, let's be honest, pretty desperate confession? Well, that's what we're going to unpack. To get that answer, we've got to rewind the clock just a few days before he said that. We need to look at a massive, coordinated assault that seriously rattled the Pakistani military establishment. So on the night of January 31st, the Balochistan Liberation Army, or the BLA, launched what they called Operation Black Storm. And listen, this wasn't just another small-scale ambush. No. As you can see here, we're talking about a highly sophisticated attack happening in 14 different cities. All at the same time, they hit military bases, intelligence facilities. It showed a level of planning that really caught Pakistani forces completely off guard. And this is where things get really fascinating. Right after the fighting, an information war just exploded. The Pakistani military came out saying, okay, we lost 50 people, but we eliminated 145 of their fighters. But then the BLA comes out with a totally different story. They claim to have killed over 125 Pakistani personnel. I mean, look at these numbers. They're not just a little different, they're on completely different planets. But this kind of an explosion of violence, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? To really get why this is happening, you've got to understand this deep, kind of bitter paradox that's at the very heart of Balochistan itself. First, let's just talk about sheer size. To get a handle on this conflict, you have to appreciate the scale we're dealing with. We're talking about a region that makes up a staggering 40% of Pakistan's entire landmass. It is huge. It's rugged, it borders Iran and Afghanistan, and it's incredibly difficult to control. And here's why this massive piece of land is so critical. Just look at this breakdown. It's basically a treasure chest for Pakistan. A third of the country's natural gas, tons of coal, oil, gold, you name it, even rare earth minerals. This province is supposed to be the resource engine of the country, which makes what we're about to see next all the more tragic. And here it is. This is the flip side of that coin. The brutal reality. Even though they're sitting on top of all this incredible wealth, the people living in Balochistan face some of the absolute worst conditions in the entire country. A poverty rate of 96%,